Hey, it's Amy, amyloganlife.com, your Life After Mormonism life coach. Make sure you head over to amyloganlife.com and sign up for your 10 Post Mormon Life Hacks. All right, the last few videos have been kind of fun and playful, and I want to get back into some of the serious stuff because I know, obviously, your faith crisis, faith transition isn't always just fun. Of course, I love post-Mormon humor. It's one of my favorite things. I really relate to it, and it gives you that little release and ability to laugh at ourselves and what we once believed. But I wanted to talk about the faith crisis part of your faith transition. How long does a faith crisis last? A day, a weekend, a month, a year, many years, right? I know this is different for everyone. Sometimes we just wake up to the fact like, yeah, no, this isn't working for me and I'm gone. Others of us, like me, belabor it a little bit and indulge in all the feelings that have come with it, and it just takes longer. Or if you're like me, and to be quite honest, yesterday I had a meltdown. I had one of those days where my life just I was just reminded of it's just not what it used to be. And not that it's not great and beautiful and lovely now, but when you have had the church be such a part of you, and you loved it at one time and you believed all of it, and you have these little pockets of memories, and they come back, and sometimes it just hits you really hard. And I say when that happens, just feel those feelings, go with it. If the worst thing that can happen is a feeling, even the feelings you don't want to feel, right? You're feeling confused, betrayed, angry. We've talked a lot about that. But when it comes and it feels its most intense, we're often wanting to run away from those feelings or mask it with something else. We buffer it with drugs or alcohol or Netflix or anything else, or we run away. There's no one right way to faith crisis, you guys. This is something that you get through and you do what you got to do. But I think what happens is you eventually get to the point where you're like, okay, I need to make sense of this, right? You've gone through it, you've experienced the emotions, you've had highs and lows, and that could last years. I think what happens is over time, those spaces get fewer and farther between. Right? I haven't had one of those melancholy, sad days in a really long time, but there could just be something that triggers it. And before I know it, my thoughts are just colliding with all the other thoughts of the goodness that I loved of that life before I left the church. And that doesn't make sense unless you've been through it. But the thing is, this wouldn't be considered a faith crisis or something hard to deal with if it was just something that you didn't like and you left it. Right? So that's why it becomes heavy, and that's why it's something you do have to work through. What I want you to remember when you are having your hard days is the worst thing that can happen is a feeling. All right? Maybe it's conversations and all of those types of things, but those are still feelings that you're dealing with people. And so I want to make sure that you know that that's a feeling, and you can get through a feeling. All right, keep going, hang on. This is the being gentle with yourself, because this is, there are ugly days. When we're going through it, we don't really especially if you're in that intense crisis part, you're at the beginning and like the rug's just been pulled out and you have yet to have a day where you're like, okay, I'm going to be okay. You're going to get through this. You're going to have days that are really hard, and eventually, as you keep going through this, those days will become easier and easier. Get an animal to love who will love you as you're going through this, okay? If the worst thing that can happen is a feeling, you get to manage your feelings by what's going on up in your head. And this is where I work with my clients a lot, is because we don't realize that we get to be the boss of what's going on in our brains. So oftentimes I talk about indulgent emotions, right? If you have been, for your lifetime, whenever you get stressed or confused, you probably react the same way you've always done. That's also a form of conditioning, and that has become a habit. And so what I help my clients through is showing them that you get to change that, right? So if you get overwhelmed, and when you get overwhelmed, you go and climb under the covers and just pull the covers over your head, and you sit there and you ruminate in that. What we do is we acknowledge the thoughts and go, oh, I don't want to be thinking that, and then replace them with other thoughts. And I know that might sound kind of elementary, but it's very real. What's going on in your brain doesn't have to stay there. And so this is often what crisis is we are We are working our way through our thoughts and helping ourselves calm down. And so there are real tangible tools that I help with my clients. But this is what I want you to know, that is that those are feelings, and those feelings are connected to your thoughts. And they could be subconscious thoughts. We have so many thoughts that run through our head every day. And it's your job to constantly be working through them, acknowledging them, and changing them if you want. And there are ways to do that. So whatever stage you are in your faith crisis, know that that too shall pass and you're going to be okay. And if this was easy, it would be no big deal. But because the church did mean something to you at some point, and that a lot of your family relations are still connected to the church, you have constant reminders. And you will always have constant reminders. That's the thing. And so it's your job to figure out a way, a healthy way to work through that, so that you're not always just taken over by your grief. You know, like, grief's a real thing, and I'm no way saying to dismiss the grief. What I experienced yesterday was a pocket of grief, and it happens. And guess what? There's no skipping over the hard stuff, you guys. Like, it is real, and it happens, and it's part of you. This is part of your story now. You have graduated from Mormonism, and you're moving on, but that doesn't mean that it's all gone. And so this is what we do. We work through it. We realize we're having a feeling, we're having a really strong emotion, and it's connected to some thought going through your head. So that's why I say be gentle with yourself. There's no easy way out except for you doing the work, you acknowledging the pain, and realizing that you're going to make it through this. Okay? A lot of people have come before you and have gotten through this. A lot of people, let me just reemphasize that, a lot more people are coming up behind you. All right? And that's what we're all doing. We're all figuring this out together.